Hello class, it's Mr. Wicklehouse again. So today we're going to talk about some right triangle trig. This should be semi-review for you guys from your geometry class. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started. So here's some formulas to know. Pythagorean theorem. Pretty sure Pythagorean theorem has been beat into your head for quite a long time now, so you should have that memorized. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So a, b, and c. Okay. Another formula you need to know is that the area of a triangle, a equals 1/2 the base times the height. Okay. Here's our trig ratios that we know. Remember SOHCAHTOA. And then we're going to add a few more here that you have not seen before. So sine theta is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. In other words, sine theta is equal to b over c. Cosine theta is equal to the adjacent side of the angle over the hypotenuse. Cosine theta is equal to a over c. Tangent theta is equal to opposite over adjacent, which is b over a. Cosecant and sine are related to each other, and that the cosecant of the angle is the reciprocal of the sine of the angle. So essentially all I'm doing is taking this opposite over the hypotenuse and flipping it over. So instead of b over c, I've got c over b. The hypotenuse over the hypotenuse over the opposite. Secant, this is secant of the angle, is the reciprocal of the cosine of the angle. So it's the hypotenuse over the adjacent, where over here we've got a over c, over here it's c over a. So you're just flipping it over. You're putting the hypotenuse on top now, and the adjacent side on the bottom. Cotangent is the reciprocal of the tangent. So instead of opposite over adjacent, cotangent is adjacent over opposite, or a over b instead of b over a. Alright? It's not too bad. Alright. So, what we're going to do here in our example is we're going to find all 6 of the trig ratios. Sine, cosine, tangent, cosecant, secant, and cotangent. In order to do that, we need all 3 sides. Well, we only know 2 of the sides, but we can find the 3rd side using the Pythagorean theorem. So 6 squared plus b squared equals the quantity 6 square root of 2 squared. Well, 6 squared is 36, b squared is still b squared, 6 square root of 2 squared, 6 squared is 36, square root of 2 squared is 2, 36 times 2 is 72. We're going to subtract 36, get 36, b squared equals 36, so b has to equal 6, so this 3rd side is 6. Now we can set up or find all of our ratios for theta. So here's theta, right there. Remember, sine is opposite over the hypotenuse. So this is 6 over 6 square root of 2. We need to simplify that. 6's go away. It's 1 over square root of 2. Can't have a square root in the bottom of our rational number, so we need to rationalize the denominator. So we multiply by square root of 2, which gives us the square root of 2 over 2. Easy peasy. Cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. 6 over 6 square root of 2. Guess what that is? The same as this one. Square root of 2 over 2. That's it. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So 6 over 6, which is just 1. Alright. Cosecant, you could go through the long way and do all this stuff where we're doing this over that if you want. That might be a little bit easier. 6 square root of 2 over 6. Well, that's just square root of 2. Secant, it's essentially the same thing. 6 square root of 2 over 6. That is equal to square root of 2. Cotangent is 6 over 6, adjacent over opposite, which is just 1. Not too hard, pretty easy. Once you get the 3 sides, you just making your ratios. That's all there is to it. Okay. Here's some stuff you should know already. Should be review for you from geometry. We're going to use the given angle to find the side of the triangle. We know the opposite and the hypotenuse. So the opposite side and the hypotenuse. The opposite side is x. That's the side we're looking for. Hypotenuse is 10. So we're going to use sine. So sine of the angle is equal to x over 10. Which means we're going to solve for x, which tells us that 10 times the sine of the angle, which is 64, is equal to x. Sorry, this up here should have been the angle. 64. Punch this into our handy dandy calculator. 10 times the sine of 64. We get x to be approximately 8.988. Pretty easy. That's all review for you. Okay. Here's another one. Except this time, we want to find the missing angle. So here's the angle we're looking for. We've got the adjacent side and the hypotenuse, which means I'm going to use cosine. Cosine of the angle is equal to adjacent, which is 21, over hypotenuse, which is 27. Get rid of the cosine, we're going to use the inverse cosine function. So if you hit second on your calculator and then hit the cosine on your calculator, you're going to essentially find this little function. Your calculator is going to pop up like this. And then you just put the 21 over 27 in there. And you're going to get your answer, which is going to be that theta equals approximately, 38.94 degrees. And that's all there is to it. That's all the review for today. I hope I'll see you guys later.